All right, welcome to another Dr. Perry's podcast. We're here today to bridge the gap between education and the real world. Everybody wants a job, so we have someone to help you get a job. We have Elizabeth Ferreira from Aspen Dental.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Perry, for having me.
Thank you for coming on.
I'm happy to be
nice.
here.
This is really nice.
Yes.
So tell me, who are you?
Who am I? My name is Elizabeth Ferreira. I am an academic and industry relations manager with Aspen Dental.
Wow.
I've been with Aspen a little over 5 years now. Born and raised in Maine, live in New Hampshire now. I partner with all of the dental schools in New England, just trying to bridge the gap between getting to know students, getting to know what they're looking for to hopefully help match them with the right opportunity for them as they graduate from dental school.
All right, well, let's talk about the big picture then. Since
Yes.
you went right into it, we're going to get a job at
Let's
Aspen
do it.
Dental. What's life like at Aspen Dental?
What's life like at Aspen? Aspen is a very collaborative environment that I think is a great place for a student to start their career. But to go a step before that, like how to even get into the realm of looking at options with Aspen Dental, that's where I come in. So I work with your students at Tufts, BU, different schools, and I host different
You mean
events.
there are other schools out there?
I know.
I thought you was just with us.
Tufts is the creme de la creme, but there are some other universities that I work with as well. And I host different events to get to know the students. We host socials, karaoke nights, brunches. We invite different doctors and support team members of Aspen offices to really just come and get to know you, because at the end of the day, I think it's extremely important to get to know every student as an individual. What are their motivators? What is it that you are truly looking for? That's the only way I'm going to help be able to place you at an Aspen Dental location, because it's not just as easy as, oh, you're interested, let's head to this location.
Well, before we even get placed somewhere, you know,
Yes.
how do I know as a student? I just graduated. I don't know what I don't know.
Correct.
I I haven't practiced here before, or, how do I know Aspen's the right fit for me? What like, whether it's your company, or I heard there's some other dental companies out there too. How do I know it's a right fit for me? What should I be asking?
That's a great question. So what I would say is that as a dental student graduating, you have a lot of options, and there's a lot of information out there, and there's also a lot of misinformation. So I would venture that when you're hearing about these different events going on with Aspen Dental or other organizations, go to these events, be inquisitive, ask the questions, interact with other doctors to understand what sets each one apart, what culture feels best aligned for you.
You mean the events that we do together?
Yes, the events that we do together. We do a yearly Tufts International social that is always a highlight of the year. And I hope that you feel the same.
No, it is. And it's very useful, because I think it's really important for our students to really know what's out there, because they don't know what they don't know. And they really need to understand what the differences are, because I don't want to say it, but I mean, Aspen may not be the right fit for everybody, and we hope it is, but
it's, quite frankly, I a couple months ago was at a career fair, not here, another university, and there was a lovely lady walking by me, and I introduced myself to her, and she said, "Oh, I don't want to talk with Aspen. I don't want to work that hard." And I kind of stood there for a second, and I thought, that's okay if that's how you feel, because we want students to graduate and join us if we are the right match for them.
Right.
And if you're looking to maybe work with 3 to 4 patients a day, have kind of a lower volume, then maybe we aren't the right fit for you. The way that
and that's okay.
And that's okay. We're not trying to be the right fit for everyone, although I do believe we could be the right fit for everyone if what they're looking for aligns with what they're looking for aligns with what we offer.
Right.
We do put ourselves in different parts of the country where there is a high demand for dentists. More than 50% of our practices are in areas where there are shortages.
Okay, I want to break the myth here. Okay?
Yes, let's myth bust.
A lot of people may think of bigger organizations, and you guys are pretty big.
We're pretty big. We have over 1,100 practices across the country.
And you are the biggest?
The largest branded dental support organization.
Okay.
But what I really like to drive home is that the majority of our practices, they're owned by individual owner doctors, right? So at the end of the day, the owner calls the shots for their practice. They're in a business service agreement with Aspen Dental, which helps manage the back end stuff of the practice. But
you mean like the hiring, the firing, the supplies,
correct.
And
a piece of equipment breaks, all of that stuff we handle. But at the end of the day, if I'm, Dr. Perry and I own my practice and I'm looking for a dentist, Aspen Dental is going to present candidates to me, Dr. Perry.
Right.
I'm going to interview these candidates. I'm going to decide which one I extend an offer to. I'm going to decide what those offer details are. Aspen Dental helps facilitate those conversations, but that's not Aspen Dental's offer. That's
Right.
Dr. Perry and his LLC
Right.
presenting that offer. So I think that there can be a misconception that Aspen Dental runs all of these offices and tells everyone what to do. The owner calls the shots for their practice. It's basically a bunch of mini private practices running, but with this large structure behind them to allow them to focus on dentistry, to allow them to focus on mentorship of the doctors in the practice.
So it's important for them, for the listeners
Yes.
that are graduating or they're going to be practicing, that they really need to go visit the individual practices, right? Because not every practice, not every Aspen Dental practice
Is run the same. Exactly. If you look at it from the outside, the logo is the same and the structure and office setup is the same, but every practice has its unique feel to it due to the owner that runs that practice. So when students are in the interview process with us, usually, we're getting to know you, understanding like, hey, what's most important to you? Is it mentorship? Is it compensation? Is it location? What are your drivers?
I want to stop you right there.
Stop me right there.
Mentorship.
Yes.
Do you do it?
Of course we do.
Is that just a key word? Come on, you don't.
So mentorship is a word that I encourage students when you go to the interview, be really clear about what mentorship means to you and be very clear about asking the doctor what mentorship means to them. To see
Give me
if
some
that,
examples.
That
Give me some examples of what.
Well, some people might want mentorship shoulder to shoulder. They want, their first few weeks or months having somebody right by their side. Somebody else might view that type of mentorship as micromanaging. They might be like, hey, I want to review my cases with you, be collaborative about my treatment planning. At the end of the day, you're calling the shots for what you're treatment planning. Someone's not doing that for you, but collaboration is always something.
And you got to find that right fit within Aspen or whatever office that might be.
So that's why during the events, I really try to get to know the students and personality-wise, because sometimes somebody will say, mentorship is the most important to me, but I really want to stay in New England. But when I'm talking to them, they're reminding me of a doctor in Kentucky. And I just am thinking, wow, I think the two of them could make a really beautiful partnership. Would you just take a Teams video call with this owner in Kentucky? There's no pressure. Just take it as like conversational, not an interview. And after they'll call me and say, oh my God, I think I want to go to Kentucky. So then we take that time to send you out to Kentucky to spend time with that owner in person, with the office, with the team, see how that culture is. And if you feel that that's a match for you, then go explore the area.
So you should be open. You should be open to just explore, because you may like, I mean, I have a lot of people in this area that say, geez, like Maine, New Hampshire are booming. I mean, there's a lot of different opportunities there, but people say, oh, I don't want to live up in New Hampshire. I don't want to live in Maine. I know.
And as again, someone from Maine and living in New Hampshire, if you want to stay in Boston, I think you should go live and work in New Hampshire because you can be in Boston every weekend. If you think about it, New Hampshire right now is one of those states that has a very high patient demand. If you decide to live and practice in New Hampshire, you are going to advance your skill set. You're going to get your reps in. You're going to pay no income tax because New Hampshire is one of the few states. There's no sales tax when you go to your Whole Foods and your Trader Joe's. And you can take the Amtrak every weekend to Boston.
To Down Eastern.
You can be in Boston as much as you want to be in Boston. If you think about it, the competition in Boston, the saturation in Boston, you're not going to increase your skills and your reps the way you would in New Hampshire. So that's where it's really getting clear about what's important to you.
Like quality of life.
Quality of life, yes. But maybe also thinking about quality of life a little bit differently of, I want to live and work in Boston, but if I'm working Monday through Friday, it's not like I'm out exploring the city that time anyway. If I live and work in New Hampshire, I can still be in Boston every weekend. I can
still go to the theater. I can still go to different restaurants.
All of those things. I have a student that I worked with. He graduated Tufts a few years ago, and he's in Minnesota. And we joke every weekend he's flying somewhere different. Well, because he decided to go to a very rural area, Minnesota, that definitely was not number one on his list when I first talked to him. And he is in a different city, living his best life every weekend, feeling fulfilled, cup to the fullest in that practice, and then lives life on the weekend in whatever state that he wants to, because he chose to think about things a little bit differently.
And I think we have to think about it differently now, especially like you said, things are saturated in Boston, and moving a little bit further out might be very helpful. And I had another one of my students that actually went to your corporation, and they were up in Maine. They said, oh, I don't want to go to Maine. I said, why don't you give it a try and see what happens? ended up, she never left.
Yes.
She loves it. So
exactly. And then we have another one of your students that went to Maine with the hopes of ending up in New Jersey, spent a few years in Maine, and now he's a multi-practice owner in New Jersey.
Crazy.
So where you start isn't where you always end up. If you're willing to look outside of the box your first few years, a lot of students I talked to lately, to be transparent, they're not even feeling always comfortable to go right into practice. They truly feel that they need a GPR or an AEGD. And I will never steer a student away from that. If that's what you feel that you need confidence-wise, you should do that. But for the students that are ready to go to practice,
especially my international students.
Correct.
Yep.
If you're ready to go to practice, why don't you think about your first year or two like others think of GPR? They're willing to go anywhere in the country for the right GPR. Would you be willing to go anywhere in the country for the right mentor that's going to help skyrocket the first year or two of your career?
I want to sign up. You're making me want to.
Well, it's just one of those things that when you really start to think about it, a lot of students are willing to go anywhere for that right program.
Yeah.
What if you invested in the first few years of your career with that same mindset?
No,
Where could it take you?
So it feels like, so a lot of students ask me, am I going to be supported, or am I just going to be thrown into the lion's den? You know, am I just going to be?
They're nervous, and
yeah.
and I can understand how they would be in the clinic environment. They're only seeing a couple patients per day, and then maybe you go visit an office that's booming, and you're like, oh my goodness,
am I going to be able to do this?
Am I going to be able to do this? So at Aspen, we definitely try to bridge the gap from the clinic environment to the real world practice environment. Aspen Dental has coordinated what's called our new doctor learning journey. It's really like a 6-month program with a curriculum built out with CEs. It's a combination of shoulder to shoulder time with your on-site mentor doctor, continued education, coming to Chicago to our headquarters to work with our chief clinical team, getting that hands-on training. We definitely don't want you to feel that you're thrown into the deep end, because at the end of the day, that's not going to be good for you. That's not going to be good for your team and your practice. It's not going to be good for the patient. And what we're all there for every day is to make sure that the patient has the best experience.
Exactly.
So if the patient is, on a schedule of a new grad who's just completely overwhelmed, we're not helping anybody here, and certainly not the doctor. So there definitely is a ramp up period, and going through, a clinician preference guide. How much time do you want blocked off for this procedure? How much time do you want for that? So that we can build out the schedule accordingly. And as the months go on and as your confidence, increases, we adjust that.
Okay. My first year out, is it going to be perfect?
I don't think anybody's first year out would be perfect. What can be perfect is your attitude and how you show up every day. What we find to be really important as far as clinical skills, Tufts gives, a great foundation for doctors coming out of school. Clinical skills is always something that we can work on and increase. Attitude is something that can be hard to shift if you don't have it. So if you are coming into your first year, like, guess what? I don't know everything.
No.
And I'm not probably even going to feel like I know everything 5 years in and maybe 10 years in.
Hey, I've been practicing a lot longer than that. And I still don't know everything.
Exactly, because that's just the truth of the nature. There's always more to be able to learn and grow. If you come in with that type of positive mindset, you want to be a sponge, soak it all in, learn from your mistakes, power forward, you're going to be golden. That part of the journey can be perfect. But are there going to be days where you're like, oh my goodness, I'm sure.
Yeah. So it's growth, it's repetition, it's just confidence building, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it takes time. All right, let's talk about it. I'm going to say it.
Okay.
I'm going to say the word.
Do it.
Money.
Money.
Show me the money.
Yes.
That's the first question people always ask sometimes. And
I know.
I think it's sometimes the wrong question. I mean,
personally think it is, but I also understand where it's coming from, because they've just spent all these years in school, and the bills and the loans are adding up. So there's concerns about the money. What I would say is it definitely should be a part of the conversation, but I don't think it should be the start of the conversation. I think at the end of the day, you really need to see
the right fit, see if you want to be there, because the money can be there, but you can be miserable.
100%. The money could be there and you could be miserable.
But if you love what you do and you're happy doing it where you're doing
the money will come. It does every time.
I agree
because
with you.
I think a lot of people, we do at Aspen a daily guarantee, and you can also earn additional of the profit share of the practice, right? So it's really uncapped earning potential.
Wait, back up. But this is important. I can become an owner?
Yes, there is a clear path from associate to lead dentist.
But I went to dental school and I'm in debt.
Correct. But we got to get the soft skills first here. So what's important is, if you're in a lot of debt and practice ownership is really important to you, we're going to come in as an associate and we're going to nail it there, right? Because as an associate, we're truly just focused on increasing our skills, our speed, our confidence clinically. When you move up into the next role, which is the managing clinical director, also known as MCD or lead dentist, that's also being a leader in the practice with your team,
Right.
while also managing additional patients.
Right.
So it's important to just start as the associate first, because we really need to focus on that clinical piece.
Right.
And then when you move up into that managing clinical director, now we've got some more leadership,
That's the
soft
tough part.
skills.
That's the tough part.
Correct, because and some people don't want that. Some people
No.
want to stay an associate, and there's
Right.
nothing wrong with that. But there's others that's like, I want to be an owner. I want to be an owner.
Right.
So you go from associate, and then you can go to a managing clinical director. And let's say, for example, you work in a practice and the owner of that practice owns multiple practices.
Mhm.
Let's say I work for Dr. Perry. He owns 5 practices. You know, Dr. Perry can't be in all 5 practices every day.
He would try, but he
He
can't.
would try, but he can't. So
Mm.
as the managing clinical director, I am the lead of that practice when you are not there.
Right.
Right? Let's say I want the next move up, but I really
But
love
that's
working.
you say a really important point, because
Mhm.
I try to drill this to my students all the time. You know, whether you're an owner or an associate, you are the role model.
You are.
You're the leader. Whether you are the lead dentist there or not. I mean, the staff is looking at you, patients are looking at you. You really need to have that role model. So leadership that you're.
It's a huge piece, because at the end of the day, it rubs off on the team, which rubs off on the patients, and it all ties back to that patient experience. But back to the managing clinical director. Let's say I work for you, and I want to become an owner myself, but I really don't want to leave you. I'm having a
Right.
really good time working
Right.
with you. Me and you can become partners of a practice
Oh,
together.
that's great.
So that's something that a lot of our doctors like to take advantage of, because they've been working with a doctor collaboratively that they really enjoy. Let's keep this greatness in a practice of our own. Let's go together. Or there could be a doctor that really, really loves you, would like to keep working with you, but wants to go across the country. And we have, you know, an opportunity to own there. You could branch off from
Right.
an MCD to then an owner of your own practice. So I think that's something that really sets Aspen apart, and is something that attracts top talent to us, is because we offer this clear path for, if you are looking for growth up to ownership, you can get there with us. If you want to stay just as an associate, you're happy to do
you
that.
can go as far as you want,
Or as little as you want.
So let's put it this way.
Yeah.
Quality of life. I'm a single dad,
Mhm.
or a single mom, and you know, I really want to be at Johnny's little soccer games. And
Yeah.
I don't want to work. I don't want to work 6 days a week.
Mhm.
I only want to work 3 days a week. I don't mind working longer hours. Is that possible?
It is, as an owner or associate lead or
Yeah.
all of the above. Yeah. So again, that all comes down to the owner that you're working with. You
So
know,
you have different options.
you have different options, because again, the owner calls the shots for their practice. So there are some owners that strategically pull partners into their practices because they want to be, you know, home with their children and maybe only in a practice 3 days a week. So their partners help in the other practices. There are other, you know, associates I talk to, or lead dentists I talk to, and they want to work a few days a week. I present that candidate to the owner,
Yeah.
and the owner decides, does
Whether-
that make sense
is it a
for
good
this
fit for
practice or
them?
not? Is this a good fit for both of us?
Right.
Because a lot of the time we say, you know, when you're working as an associate or a lead dentist with Aspen, you're dating Aspen, right? We're
It's
seeing
like
it
a
by
marriage.
like
It's like a
you,
marriage.
you like
It's a
it is.
marriage.
But it comes to marriage if we decide to go partnership or ownership.
Right.
That dating period before, some people will talk to us and go, I want to go right to an owner. I want to become an owner immediately. No, we got to date a little bit here. We got to date and make sure that this is the
since
right
you put
fit
it that
here.
way, what happens if I don't like it? How's the breakup? How does that
How's
work?
the breakup? So I think what's nice about Aspen is, I think, to be honest, a good amount of students think, I'm going to come to Aspen, I'm going to learn so much in my first few years, and I'm going to go take it elsewhere. And while some do, a majority don't. A lot of people, I think, that come in with the expectation of, I'm going to go with Aspen for a few years, stay with us for a lifetime, which is very gratifying. However, if it doesn't go that way,
Yeah.
and you don't feel it's the right fit for you, we ask for a 90-day notice for continuity of patient care. But when you
And vice versa, right?
and vice versa,
Okay.
yeah. But at the end of the day, we don't sign you into contracts. We have letters of agreement, you know? So I work with dental students that will sign a letter of agreement, are super
Yeah.
excited to get started with Aspen. And then a month or so before graduation, some other opportunity falls out of the sky with somebody else, and they feel that that's the better fit for you. I always tell them, it's okay. Like, they give me the call and it's like a breakup, and I'm like, don't worry about it. Like, you signed this opportunity with the intent to get started. You were excited. things change.
You guys are still friends.
That's okay. We're still friends, and I'm still going to check in on you in 6 months in your new role, in a year in your new role, and see how you're doing. And a lot of times they do end up coming back to Aspen a year or two later, and that's okay. What we understand is you guys have choices, and where you start your career is a very important choice.
Find the right fit.
And you have to find the right fit.
You're building the foundation.
Exactly.
So I want to kind of change wheels a little
courses.
bit. Yeah, just a little bit. Okay. All right. I love everything you're talking about. Okay. I'm interested in Aspen. It's like, hey, maybe, this might be good.
Yep.
Tell me about the interview. What do I do?
Yeah. So how it all starts again is like, I'm kind of the first point of contact, getting to know you. And then I work closely with Maeve. You've met Maeve before. She's the one that really gets under the hood with the students that we work with to get you set up for your interview. Okay. So let's say you are going to interview with Dr. Oakes in Maine.
Good old Dr. Oakes.
The first step that we're usually going to start with is a video interview, strictly based off the fact that we're across the country. We have over 1,100 practices. Yes, like a Zoom interview. We have over 1,100 practices. So that first initial conversation when we're working in different states is going to be a Zoom, face-to-face. If both parties after are like, I'm interested in continuing to pursue this, maybe we should go on another date. That's when we bring you in for a site visit. So that's when you're really able to get in face-to-face and ask the questions that you want to ask. What I encourage students to do is put your best foot forward, come with questions, come with eagerness, take time with the doctor, but take time with other people in the staff as well. Because at the end of the day, you have to understand the culture in that practice and if that's going to be the best fit for you.
Well, I want to just back up because, I know that you have, and I don't know the correct term for it. I know you work with a lot of the students and you work with them as far as getting information about Aspen Dental. What programs do you have within Aspen Dental prior to them even joining Aspen Dental, like for students to be involved in?
Great question. So a lot of the events that we have are like the socials, karaoke's, but there are a couple more structured events. In the past few years, we've been doing a program called We Got You, which we bring students, about 50 from across the country.
And I know you've taken some of my students.
We have. Yeah, it's been fantastic. So we bring them out to Chicago to see 2 different buildings that we have there. The first is called our Oral Care Center of Excellence. That's where we do a lot of our hands-on training, most specifically our implant training. So we do have an implant course.
Wait, I can learn implants if I'm...
You certainly can. Yes,
wow.
That is a whole built-out curriculum that we have. Fantastic programming run by Dr. Sandeep Ruwal, who's the head of our implants. But when we do that implant course, we give free care to the citizens of Chicago that fall underneath the poverty line in the community that we're embedded in. We're right in the Fulton Market area in Chicago. So the OCC, as we call it, the Oral Care Center, it kind of feels like the perfect Aspen win-win because we're able to give back to the community that we're embedded in, which is so much of our culture, but we're also able to give that hands-on experience to our doctors in training.
You have a mobile van too that goes around because we've had it here.
Yes, we have had the mobile van. But as far as We Got You, we bring students to the Oral Care Center to meet with the team there, see the lab, see, the structure that we have. But we also bring them to our headquarters, which is in Fulton Market, and they're able to meet with different members of the chief clinical team,
ask all the
questions they want, and also meet with somebody from the onboarding team. I think our onboarding team is something that really sets us apart because if you decide to join Aspen Dental, me and you have had a great relationship. You've had a great one with me. But after you sign the dotted line of that offer, like, what's next? Like, that's where we introduce you to your onboarding manager. And as the months go on until graduation, that onboarding manager is lockstep with you to help make sure that we get all the paperwork needed from you to be able to get credentialed and getting ready in that office once licensure, graduation, all of that stuff comes through.
All right, Elizabeth. I'm going to get the interview, all right?
Yes.
Tell me what makes certain candidates stand out over other ones, and give our listeners 3 points.
3 points. So I definitely would say coming prepared, eager, questions to ask, asking like, hey, so how many procedures are you guys typically, how many new patients are you seeing a day? How many procedures roughly? What type of procedures? Like really break it down for me. How many columns does it look like? Like really try to get into the nitty gritty to understand the practice is number 1. Number 2, doesn't hurt to show up with donuts. I had a student once who she felt like that Zoom interview went phenomenal. She was like,
Yeah.
I feel that this doctor could be great for me. And she knew that there were other students that were interviewing for that position too. She was like, how am I going to set
The
myself
donuts
apart?
got it.
We got a message from the doctor like, oh my goodness, she showed up with donuts for the whole team. And I was like, oh wow, she really hit it out of the park for that one. But it doesn't have to be buying donuts for the team.
It could be bagels.
It could be bagels. It could be munchkins from Dunkin'. We all run on Dunkin' here. But no, the third, it could be a simple, sweet follow-up after. I had a doctor, a student mail a handwritten card to the practice that she visited, really thanking the doctor and the team for the time. And like, it can be as simple as an email to show
Right.
your appreciation for them taking the time. But those types of things, the eagerness, the willingness to learn, being engaged, trying to set yourself out. It doesn't always have to be
Yeah.
donuts, but it could be a simple thank you email to really just show how interested and
Right.
invested you are.
Well, I think
in the
it's really important
opportunity.
because you're interviewing them, but they're also interviewing you.
100, as they should be.
And it's the same thing I tell my students that are coming for interviews at the schools or
Yeah.
any school they go to. We're interviewing you, you're interviewing us.
It's a two-way conversation, and
Exactly.
it always should be. And that's why I say, know to you what mentorship looks like and what you want, and ask them what mentorship means as well, because mentorship feels like one of those buzzwords nowadays that like everyone throws it around, but what does it truly mean? And I bet if you put 10 dentists in a room, it could mean something
Oh,
slightly different to all of them.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely. So let's talk about the, you can teach clinical skills,
mhm.
but mindset.
Yeah.
What is the mindset of an Aspen Dental doctor? I'm just
Yeah.
what differentiates you guys? Like, I want to be part of this organization because
Yeah. I would want to be part of this organization if I'm somebody who really cares about quality patient care, being able to be given the tools and the resources that's going to help grow me as a clinician. We make so much investments in our teams, in our doctors,
in the
in our
community.
technology, our community, our training,
Yeah.
that program alone, we got you, and how we invest in showing students how we invest in our doctors. It's a very much a two-way street at
Well,
Aspen.
plus the programs you do prior to them even becoming to know Aspen Dental, like at the schools, and things of
Exactly.
that nature. Just opening the lines of communication, let them explore, let them see the differences. I think
Yeah.
it's great. I mean, I know we kid about, Aspen Dental is the only institution out there. It's not. I
It's
mean,
not, yeah.
and you guys all have a friendly banter because that, there are other organizations out there that they may be a good fit for, but it goes back and forth.
Exactly. It's funny. Whenever I'm at a career fair and I'm chatting with the reps from the other organizations, the students will look at us funny, and we always joke with them. We're like, we don't hate each other, guys.
Right,
Like
I
at the
know.
end of the day, each one of us can't hire every single one of you.
Right.
And we all have things that set us apart. What for me sets Aspen apart is we're a strong, purpose-driven organization that I believe, great brands meet consumers where they need to be met. And I feel that Aspen truly understands where our patients need to be met, between the strategies of our pricing, of where we open our practices, with the various insurance carriers, with the different offerings that we have. It's all to take friction out of the system so that we can help break down barriers for patients to get access to care. So if you are a student graduating school who wants to be able to help those that are truly in need and have the access to a plethora of patients and a
Right.
strong CE-driven backing, I see no other better organization for you to start and grow your career.
But you got to ask the questions.
You've got to ask the questions. And
If
you
you-
don't know what you don't know. So
Exactly.
being inquisitive.
Yeah, and if you got to ask the questions, I think not asking the questions sometimes comes across maybe to an employer that they don't really care.
Disinterested.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not really connecting with us. So it can come out. You may not be that way at all, but
Yeah.
you gotta be engaged.
Yeah, I would say even the shyest doctors, you really probably have to push yourself out of the comfort zone to be able to stand out in that interview, because if not, it could come off as unengaged, disinterested, phoning it in. And I know they didn't go to school all of these years to just phone it in,
Right,
but
right.
you really have to put your best foot forward to see if that opportunity is right for you.
All right, I'm going to ask the next question. here.
Okay.
The next question is, just like dental schools,
Mhm.
I have some applicants that get multiple offers.
Yes.
Obviously, if I've interviewed them, and I've given them an offer, I want them to come here.
Mhm.
the same thing when they're looking at job offers.
Yes.
They're going to get, maybe some are going to get multiple offers.
Mhm.
What advice do you give the candidate?
So I always talk to the students that I work with about, at the end of the day, yes, I work for Aspen Dental and I love Aspen and I would love for, that to be the right fit for you, but maybe it's not. So I really try to help them understand that I am a career guide. So if you have multiple different offers that you're looking at, if you're comfortable, let's chat through them. Like, do some say guarantee and some say draw? If so, let's talk about that. Do you know what the difference between a guarantee and a draw is? Oh, I don't. Okay, let's start there.
Right.
So we work through that. So at the end of the day, when there are students with multiple offers, there's certain things that I think they should definitely be looking at, like the owner specifically of the office or the mentor specifically that they would be working with. Who do you connect best with? Who do you feel that you could get the most from? CEs, are they offering CEs? Benefits, what do your benefits look like? Do you have a guarantee or a draw?
Right.
Is there a time frame where that ends or drops off? Okay, let's say after 6 months, that guarantee is gone. Do they have the patience that's going to be able to sustain the amount that you were guaranteed those first few months? If it's a new office opening, is it a true new office opening? All Aspen offices are true new office openings. They're all de novo practices. If you're working elsewhere, you might hear new office opening.
Can you because you mentioned the word, I understand it, but I want my listeners.
De novo?
De novo.
De novo. So their office is built from the ground up. So if it's an Aspen Dental practice, we do not acquire any pre-existing practices. All of our offices.
So you do all your marketing, you kind of look geographically, you kind of like Dunkin' Donuts would do it, or Whole Foods would do it.
Yeah. So like if I have
Costco's.
If I have a doctor who's really interested in ownership, it's not as easy of them saying like, hey, I'm interested in ownership. I would like to own in this area. Okay, well, we have a real estate and development team and a new office opening team who has about 2 years out of the plan because they look at the country strategically and say, where are we needed? Where, if we open up a practice, is there going to be patient demand on day one?
Right.
And then we get a little closer to it and say, okay, is there a Starbucks or a Chipotle or some kind of shopping center that we can implement ourselves? That's usually where you see us, right? So it's very strategic. It's not just throwing a dart at the board and seeing where it hits. So,
and that's the strength that Aspen brings.
Correct.
Because you get that backbone that you as a clinician don't have to worry so much about. Not keep your eye off the ball, but you can rely more on the backbone to help you be successful doing clinical dentistry.
Exactly.
Treating your patients.
And I think it's important to start, if you're starting in a new office opening, for it to be a true new office opening, because you understand that equipment, everything brand new, great quality. Other organizations do some do roll-up practices, and that's where they acquire a pre-existing private practice and roll that up into their business model. But a lot of students, when they hear that they're going into a new office, sometimes they think it's a de novo, and it's not a de novo.
Oh, I get you.
So there can be some complications that can come along with that.
And it may have not been successful before, and it may not be successful now.
You said it, not me.
I'm just reading in between the lines.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're kind of feeding me this, Elizabeth. I don't know. Am I interviewing you? Or you're interviewing me.
It's a two-way conversation, just like we said.
I guess so.
Yeah.
So you want to pick the place that's going to make you the best.
Yes.
Right? The best version of yourself clinically, professionally, everything like that. And Aspen might be it.
Yeah.
But we got to find out.
You
got to ask the questions. You got to find out what's going on. Well, you want to leave our audience with anything positive about Aspen Dental again?
Oh, I could leave with a whole lot of positive. I truly believe that the framework that we offer our doctors, it's second to none. Like from the minute that you join us as a new graduate out of school, we're really focusing on bridging that gap from the school to the real world practice environment. We are invested in you. We're invested in building strong teams. We're invested in making sure that our patients can get the best experience possible. So if you're looking to start your career somewhere where you can really enhance your skills, your speed, your quality of patient interaction, be in like a collaborative driven culture where you have this community and camaraderie that really helps build you up as a clinician, where you can feel fulfilled in that small type of private practice feel, but also understand you have this huge corporate backing. I mean, the faculty that we have at the Aspen Group University, where our CEs are, a lot of the students leave with the phone numbers of a lot of the doctors. And I had Dr. Sandeep Rawal at one of my events, and he kept going off to the side on his phone. And I was like, who's blowing you up? And he's like, I mean, all the doctors that I do the implant course with, I give them my phone number on the way out. And so I'm just helping out with some cases across the country right now. And when I say that to students, they always think like, oh, come on, I'm not going to end up with people's phone numbers. And I have a student that graduated a year ago, and he has Dr. Rawal's phone number now. And he told me, he's like, Elizabeth, I really do just call him. And I was like, because at the end of the day, it can seem like such a big organization that you're joining, but we really do have that human connection and support. You're not alone. We've got your back no matter where in the country you end up with Aspen.
All right. Elizabeth, I know you've done this for a little while.
A little bit.
A little bit. I mean, I'm closing, we're going to close this segment in a minute here, but tell me what really drives you, what satisfies you about doing your job?
Oh gosh, a lot. I think that it's really easy to work for a company that you believe in the structure. You believe.
I don't know if that came across in your enthusiasm.
No, I think it does.
I'm teasing you.
I really think that it's easy. It doesn't feel like a job a lot of the times, which I talk to my friends that are in all different fields, and they're always like, you seem so passionate and like you love your job. And I'm like, doesn't everybody? And you realize that a lot of people don't.
They don't, yeah.
But in my position specifically, I feel so strongly about what it is that I do. I feel strongly about the opportunity that I'm helping students find, just being that small piece of their puzzle. Every year, the company has something called Leadership Retreat, where all of the doctors and team members in the organization come together. And at this last Leadership Retreat, I saw a doctor that I worked with about 3.5 years ago as an associate, and now he's a practice owner. Wow. And he came up to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so great to see you. And he's like, Elizabeth, like, I wouldn't be here without you. And I was like, no, doc, like, you wouldn't be here without you. Like, it was all you. He's like, oh, I was dodging your calls. I wasn't taking it. I listened to you that first call. I thought, oh, this sounds too good to be true. You called out that I thought it might be too good to be true. You set me up with Dr. So-and-so, and I chatted with him. And, you know, that's just kind of how it goes. So what drives me in this job is being able to help students find an opportunity that's a great fit for them, and watching them grow their career. The amount of doctors at Leadership Retreat that I had a small piece of the process of them joining.
We all
and
do.
Now seeing how much, exactly, I'm sure in your position, you watch doctors all across the country thrive, and you're a small piece of their journey, but it continues to fuel you in the next interaction that you have with your next class year. It helps me with the next class year that I have, because I really feel strongly that there's no better place for a student to learn and grow than Aspen Dental.
I agree with you. Well, Elizabeth, we're going to end it here.
Can I come back soon? I feel like there's still so much you can talk about.
There's so much to talk about. We're definitely going to have you back again. This has been very valuable to our listeners. They know what to ask now. They know what Aspen Dental is about.
Yes.
They know that you dispelled a lot of the myths that are out there. Yes. That, hey, it's okay. You can go to a rural area or a suburban area and still get to a city.
Yes.
You know,
you can. Where you start is not where you land.
Exactly. But this has been a pleasure. So we're going to end with this. This is Dr. Perry's podcast. Thank you, Elizabeth, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Much appreciated.
Thank you.
And remember, ask your questions.
Yes.
If you don't ask, you don't know what you don't know. Anyway, have a great day. See you in the next podcast.
Thank you, Dr. Perry.
All right, thank you.